Joined by Mr. Richard Silverman, and you remember Richard Silverman driving here for years and years, and now training 3 tonight, right, Richard?
That's correct.
Okay, you're now, I don't want to say how old you are, but you started here, you're 19, 20 years old. That's a pretty good run.
Going back a little bit, but
it's a pretty good run. When you're 20 years old, you appeared in a Wilson with Michael Jonathan for big money. What was that like?
It was, when you're young, it just came natural.
You don't
to
feel
me.
the cold when you're young.
Not really.
Yeah.
No, it was great.
Okay, now we're going to go to probably the best horse you ever had, Die Laughing. New Jersey Classic, 1991, and the significance of this is that he defeats the horse of the year, Precious Money. Take us through the race here, Rich.
Yeah, I wound up getting away on the front with Cheap Fractions. John got away back with Precious Money, and the wire came up just in time. And Die Laughing was a great horse, and so was Precious Money, and I just lucked out with a better trip.
And Die Laughing would wind up, I think he won $1 million at both 2 and 3, right?
He did.
That's a very, very, very difficult thing to do. And you just saw Precious Money was just out of his mind good in that race with some bad luck. But Die Laughing wound up with a $2 million career. And boy, what a top horse he was from the first crop of No Nukes, right?
Yeah, he was an absolute Cadillac. And, I wish I had some more of them.
Do you need a horse like that to get your name on the map? I mean, how does that work?
You definitely need horses like that. You can train 100, and as long as you get one great one or one really top one, it just paves the way for the following year.
Okay, we don't like to mention why you're not driving, but we will show you the reason Richie's no longer driving. We had an accident back in 2010 in June. We're going to show you what happened here. Richard, take us through this.
I was just sitting back with a long shot, minding my own business. Georgie had pulled his horse first over and just dropped, and it was just a train reaction, and there was just no time to go anywhere, and I went flying. I actually do not remember that day or the accident, which is probably a good thing, but it happens, and it's one of the things that happens in harness racing, unfortunately, sometimes.
And you had, I believe, one of the rarest injuries in the world. You had both feet and both ankles broken, right?
Yeah, both ankles, and they were so worried about my head at the time, they didn't realize that I had 2 broken ankles till the next day because I was unconscious.
Yeah, because there was a lot of touch and go there for a while.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
And you weren't just, it was, as you could see, there were others involved too, so that was kind of a bad scene for a while.
No, it wasn't good. We hate to think about those situations.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's take a look at some of the horse you have in tonight. Starting to race 2, number, I think 6, I believe, Addy Girl, a well-said filly. What kind of stock?
This filly trained down very well last year. I thought she was going to be, a nice sire stakes filly. She wound up having some chips in her hind ankles. We operated on her, took them out, and that's why her career was shortened last year. And we're bringing her back slowly and trying to get a good foundation on her and see if she's good enough to go against the better fillies.
How's Jerry Silverman doing? One of our favorite people. Jerry Silverman, Richie's father. 50 years ago, trained a Triple Crown winner, Romeo Hanover, and a lot of good horses, a lot of decades for Jerry.
Yeah, Dad's doing okay. Age is creeping up on him a little bit. He's 80 now, and personally, as his son, I'm just a little disturbed that he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. I hope that it happens soon before it's too late, to be honest with you.
6th race, number 6, Respectable Dream. Jim Marshall, the third's got the assignment. What about here?
This horse, I broke him as a yearling. I had him for a few years, did well with him. Unfortunately, the owner of White Birch Farm, Michael Parisi, passed away, who owned him privately with me. He then separated, and I just recently, about 2 months ago, bought him back privately for myself and some friends of mine.
Okay, and on the program, when you see the name Emmy Beckwith, that's Melissa Beckwith, that's your sister. What about her? How's she doing?
She's doing good. They're the leading trainer at Saratoga, I believe, right now, and they train around 20, and they do very well up there.
Okay, switch to race 11. Regalanthropist, post 7, 12-1, Jimmy Marone. What do we got here?
This horse I claimed at Pompano. He's a really, really nice horse. He's started very tough at Saratoga. I had some issues with him early, and I just thought that he'd enjoy getting stretched out here at the Meadowlands, and I think he fits in here, and I really like him.
Okay, so you got a chance to visit the winner's circle tonight, looks like.
I believe so, if he trips out a little bit.
You've always been kind of a confident guy, right? And even when you drove, too?
listen, if you don't have confidence, what do you have?
That's right. You know, we had the Hambletonian the first Saturday in August 1988. You had a horse, Rule to Win, going up against Umbro Goal. He was a little short on experience. What about that?
It was his first start. He had a degenerative stifle joint. He was crippled his whole life. And we wound up getting him to the Hambletonian. The trip didn't work out, unfortunately, in the final. But he wound up being a sire and just an okay one, and that was the end of him.
I believe wasn't he second in the first heat?
He was second in the first heat, and I got parked in the final.
Okay, a couple other horses I want to mention. Tiberwood, for Gary Matches, overachiever?
Tried, wound up getting lucky with his trips, won the Breeders' Crown, won a lot of big races, and that was really a lot of fun.
Arts Place had 7 daughters hit $2 million, $1 million, I should say. Glowing Report was one of them.
Yeah, that was probably the toughest mare that I've ever been around. Just a great, great mare. Made $500,000 every year that she raced, and she was a blessing to have. And we're still waiting. I know Mr. Runick is still waiting for the one home run out of her, which hasn't come yet.
And you won the Breeders' Crown with a free-legged horse called Masquerade. I don't think too many free-legged horses have won a Breeders' Crown since. I don't think anybody has they?
No, that was unbelievable. That was a colt that, as a 2-year-old, was terrible gated, cross-fired. We brought him back at 3, started the same way. And my dad said one day, take the hobbles off. And I said, Dad, you're out of your mind. And I went and turned him, and he was straight as an arrow and never worn him since. There's
a saying, it's not the years, it's the mileage. The fact that you started so young and competed all at that time, all those years, it's almost like you have the same experience as a guy who was like 70 as a driver.
Thanks a lot, Bob. I'm not going to answer that question.
I had to throw that in there. Jerry called and told me to say that one. Richard, good luck tonight here. Your family's over here. Nice to see them again, and nice to have you back at the Meadowlands, and maybe you can win 1 or 2 tonight.
I hope so, Bob. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you.